We got a new court preliminary injunction coming out of the District of Columbia in breaking news led by Judge Cooper. It could blow the doors wide open about DOGE, Musk, and be one step closer to getting Musk out of the government. It's a ruling in which Judge Cooper has found that DOGE services run by Elon Musk is likely a federal agency exercising independent agency authority independent from the president, and therefore is subject to Freedom of Information Act public records requests. Remember that DOGE has tried to shield itself in secrecy, combining secrecy with velocity in order to do maximum damage and impact into the government. And that is the exact reasons that Judge Cooper has ruled that a preliminary injunction should result here to make DOGE subject to FOIA, to make the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, known as CREW, their demand for records from the Office of Management and Budget and the Office of DOGE itself. These public records spill out into the public about what Elon Musk is doing, how he's doing it, how he's accessing personal and financial information and records, who he's firing, who he's defunding, all coming out of this one case. Tide has turned. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. Let's talk about the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington CREW versus the U.S. DOGE Service and Judge Cooper's new decision. We talked a lot about recently on Legal AF, Ben Meiselas and me in particular, about there being a need to establish that DOGE and Elon Musk are subject to public records laws, sunshine in the government law, sunshine, the best disinfectant and antiseptic. We need to know what's going on. Judge Cooper remarked in his 37-page order, part of which I'm going to read to you in a moment, that it is obvious that DOGE and Musk were set up, particularly by Donald Trump, to use surprise, to use velocity, to use speed and secretiveness and secrecy in order to execute their maximum plan, to slash the federal budget, to slash federal funding, to slash personnel, federal workers in a way that wouldn't allow for congressional oversight, violating the checks and balance and separation of powers. And it's that very speed, velocity, and secrecy that has motivated Judge Cooper to rule on a preliminary injunction that DOGE is subject to public records requests, and all of this information will now spill out into the public. Now, CREW wanted all this information out by March 10th. That's not happening. The reason they picked March 10th, which is already sort of come and gone, is they wanted it out while Congress is debating funding. And the judge said it's going to come out on a rolling basis. All of the information about the secretive nature and the secretive work to date of DOGE is going to come out in a rolling basis, but I'm not going to make them do it overnight. And that's probably okay. The big story here, and that's why I'm so excited, is that this is like a piñata of information that finally a judge has used the right hammer for, and it's spilled out. And we're going to be getting this information. It's going to be made public through this lawsuit. And then, of course, all the other lawsuits will be able to use it, and commentators like me will be able to use it. Let me read to you some of the troubling aspects, some of the troubling findings that the judge made. Let's start on page 3 over to 4, where the judge found out that DOGE, its members, Musk, have been using an application, a secretive application called Signal, which allows its users to erase information and communications between them on the platform. That is exactly violative of public records laws, which says that agencies have to retain their information so that the public can review it. So he's done, as part of his order, a preservation order telling them, get off a Signal, you need to retain and not destroy, or what we call spoliate, any of your documents or information. USDS, that's DOGE, operations thus far have been marked by unusual secrecy in other ways too. For instance, USDS, that means DOGE, reportedly installed an outside server at OPM to store government staffers' personal information, including their email accounts. They've also reportedly declined to identify themselves to career officials on request. That's page 8 over to 9. On page 3, he talks about the use of Signal. Page 3, DOGE commenced operations prior to President Trump's second inauguration. During the transition period, USDS employees reportedly communicated via the encrypted messaging application Signal, which is widely used for auto-delete functionality. Through this function, users can set Signal to automatically and permanently delete text messages, which is what they have been doing, and that has been troubling the judge as well. Did you know Fast Growing Trees is the biggest online nursery in the U.S. with thousands of different plants and over 2 million happy customers? They have all the plants your yard needs, like fruit trees, privacy trees, flowering trees, shrubs, and so much more. Fast Growing Trees makes it easy to get your dream yard. Order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door in just a few days without ever leaving home. Their Alive and Thrive guarantee ensures your plants arrive happy and healthy. Plus, get support from trained plant experts on call to help you plan your landscape, choose the right plants, and learn how to care for them. We recently moved into a new house, and it came with 2 big bald spots where grass used to be, but the prior owner's dog wore out. So we turned to Fast Growing Trees, and their plant experts' advice turned an eyesore into one of our favorite features of the yard, with a few key lime trees suited for our climate and location. Saved us all the aggravation of dealing with unknown landscapers and nurseries, too. Big yard, small yard, no yard. Fast Growing Trees has over 6,000 plants to fit any space, from indoor plants to fruit trees to full-size privacy trees and more. And their 14-point quality checklist ensures you're getting the best quality plant possible. Each plant is cared for individually based on their needs, from watering routines to the amount of sunlight, giving your plants the care they deserve from the time they start growing to when they ship to your home. Whether you're looking to add privacy, shade, or natural beauty to your yard, Fast Growing Trees has in-house experts ready to help you make the right selection, with plant experts on call to offer growing and care advice. You can talk to a plant expert about your soil type, landscape design, how to take care of your plants, and everything else you need. No green thumb required. Every plant comes with instructions and tips to take care of your new plants so they can grow to their fullest potential. This spring, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code LEGALAF at checkout. That's an additional 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code LEGALAF at checkout. FastGrowingTrees.com, code LEGALAF. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use LEGALAF to save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. On page 7, the judge says, in a move viewed by some as pernicious, DOGE has obtained unprecedented access to sensitive personal and classified data and payment systems across federal agencies. For instance, USDS teams reportedly received access to a massive trove of personal information from millions of federal employees maintained by the Office of Personnel Management and sensitive Treasury data, including Social Security and Medicare customer payment systems, which also troubles the judge. So the way the judge looks at it, taking media reports about Donald Trump giving Elon Musk so much power, him hollowing out and firing tens of thousands of federal workers, including almost the entirety of U.S. aid, all because of Elon Musk, and defunding as a result, that makes them an independent agency subject to Freedom of Information Act request. Now, we know what the Trump administration is going to say in response. He's just an advisor. He's just advising the president. He's covered by the executive immunity and executive privilege. That is going to be the fight we're going to see break out because of Judge Cooper's new decision. First at the D.C. Court of Appeals and then up to the United States Supreme Court. But we know, and everyone knows from the record that's been established already, from Donald Trump's own comments, from Elon Musk's own comments, from the actual proof of the pudding is in the tasting. We see what he's done. That Elon Musk exercises tremendous independent authority in a way that undercuts and undermines cabinet members and Congress and its right of oversight. And because of that, he's not just an advisor, he's an executor, he's an implementer, he's a destroyer of worlds that relate to the federal government, and proud of it and public about it, except when it comes to releasing public records. And that's where the FOIA, Freedom of Information Act request comes in, and that's where the Crew lawsuit comes into play. So kudos to Crew for having brought the lawsuit, prosecuting it properly, and having Judge Cooper rule in their favor. This will now go to the D.C. Court of Appeals and a 3-judge panel on its way to the United States Supreme Court on this fundamental issue. Is Elon Musk a mere advisor, counselor to the president, and the president still exercising all of the rights and powers related to the federal agencies, and the cabinet members are too, or is he not? If he's exercising independent, even a slight amount of independent executive power, he's subject to FOIA. That's what Judge Cooper has found. That's what I believe the Court of Appeals will find, and we'll see what happens at the Supreme Court. I'm looking at you, Chief Justice Roberts, and Associate Justice Amy Coney Barrett, because I know pretty darn well, like I know the back of my hand, that Ketanji Brown Jackson, Sotomayor, and Kagan are going to rule that he's not just a mere advisor. He's subject to FOIA, as is the Office of Management and Budget. But what say you? We need 2 more votes. Got to count to 5. I think my prediction, Amy Coney Barrett's going to side with the other 3, and it's going to be up to Roberts to be the deciding vote here. And I think he's going to find that because of the record that's been developed, that Musk and DOGE are subject to public records requests, and we'll be able to get that information, which we can then use on the other dozen or more lawsuits involving DOGE and Musk. I'll follow it all right here closely and bring it to you here on MeidasTouch and on Legal AF, the podcast. Wednesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we cover exactly this type of thing at the intersection of law and politics and explain why it matters. So join us. We're top 10 in the world in podcasts, but that's because of you. We're doing the curating. We're doing the commentating. You're doing the watching, listening, and engagement. And we appreciate that. And pick us up on all audio podcast platforms as well if you like your podcast audio fashion. Come over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel that I curate. And we do this every day, every hour, with some amazing new commentators that you haven't seen before. Come over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.